Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Welcome if you're new here. My name is Melissa and thank you for stopping by. Today I'm going to be showing you guys what's for dinner. I haven't done one of these videos in so long, but I think I'm going to start bringing them back to my channel because it's what I do every day. It's what I love. And so why not? So I'm going to be showing you 3 meals for 3 nights that we had this week. So let's go ahead and get started. For tonight's dinner, we're going to have a steak stir fry, my homemade mashed potatoes, and corn on the cob. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what you need to make this meal. So first I'm just chopping up some onion, and then I'm also going to chop up a green bell pepper. I usually get red bell pepper also, but I didn't have one and I'm at the end of the week for this meal. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my pan on a medium heat for the steak, and I'm going to go ahead and put my burner on high for my big pot to go ahead and have my potatoes boiling. I went ahead and drizzled some olive oil into this pan, and I'm going to go ahead and let these onions caramelize a little bit and go ahead and chop up my peppers and add those in also. And now I'm just going to give that a good stir, mix it all around. I'm going to put the lid on it and let that cook up until everything is nice and soft. And then I'm going to go ahead over and start peeling my potatoes. My water is already starting to boil, so I'm just going to peel these and quarter them and let those boil until they're nice and soft so that I can mash them. And just in case you're new here, we are a family of 5, so it is me, my husband, and our 3 daughters, so I do cook for 5 every night. And now I'm just going to add these potatoes to my boiling water. I'm salting my water here, as you can see. I do salt my water while it's boiling, and then I'm going to add the potatoes in there. I think these cooked up for around 20 to 25 minutes, but you can stick a fork in it, mash it up against the side of the pot, and tell when your potatoes are nice and done. You don't want them so done that they're falling apart in your water, because then you're going to have more of a stewed potato, and it's going to be harder to mash. But now I'm going to add the beef bites, which are little steak beef bites. This is just kind of a lazy dinner in my opinion. Like, there's not really much to it. Super easy. You just add the meat in with the peppers and onions because now they're a little bit softened. And then I'm going to add all of my seasoning. Now, this is Worcestershire sauce. However you say it, I call it W sauce because I don't know what I'm saying, y'all. But I add the W sauce. I am adding some garlic powder and a little bit of onion powder. This is actually garlic pepper, excuse me. And I will have all of these recipes listed down below in the description. So if there's anything that I'm just tossing in that you need measurements on, or you missed something that I said, then you can look down there in the description because I eyeball a lot of things that I cook all of the time. If I'm going by a new recipe, I follow the measurements and the instructions. But if it's something I cook all the time, I just kind of know how much to put and I just eyeball it. So I'm just going to break this meat all up, give this a really good stir, and then I'm going to pop the lid back on it. And I'm going to get my pot ready for my corn on the cob. So I'm just going to cook these 6 ears of corn, which really they're half, but we're going to make 6 of these, okay, y'all? And next I'm going to show you guys how I make my homemade mashed potatoes, but unfortunately I didn't turn my camera on at the very first part, so I didn't get to show you how I mashed them and everything that I added, but I'm going to go ahead and show you that now. So I just mashed them with this like little plastic potato masher things. I add mayonnaise and butter, and this time I added a little sour cream just because I had it and I needed to get rid of it, and then I add milk last to make it nice and creamy. Mix it all together. I know mayonnaise sounds weird, but it's a southern thing. My grandma did it and I promise it is delicious. Just add some salt and pepper and then you're ready to go. And so that is what we had for this night. And like I said, it was the end of the week. So I was at the end of my grocery list and I was just working with what I had. So this isn't fabulous. And I don't know why that looks burnt. The lighting is just bad. But that is the meal for tonight. Let's move on to the next one. For tonight's meal, I'm going to be making a meatloaf, my homemade pasta salad, and some cornbread. So right now I'm starting with the ingredients for the meatloaf because the meatloaf does take the longest to cook. It does take an hour. So I'm going to go ahead and finely chop up my onion and my green pepper because it's going to go inside of the meatloaf. And I'm going to save some of the onion and put it to the side because that is also going to go into our pasta salad. Okay, on a real note, y'all, while I'm editing this video, looking at these hands, I actually almost had a panic attack because I was like, why are my hands so swollen? But then I remembered that was my husband because he had to help me chop the onion because I was crying. And of course, everything I'm putting into this meatloaf is totally optional. If you don't like onions, you don't have to put onions. If you don't like peppers, you don't have to put peppers. If you don't like either one of them, don't put either one of them. But this is just what we like in ours, and it is so delicious, y'all. It is so good. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up and go ahead and show you all the other ingredients that I put in the meatloaf to make it so good. So now that we have our onion and our pepper, and I did slice up only half of the pepper, half of the onion, I'm going to go ahead and add 2 pounds of ground beef to this. I'm going to crack these are 2 large eggs. I mean, honestly, whatever size eggs is fine, 2 eggs. And then I'm going to add my meatloaf seasoning pack. And I just get the McCormick brand. There are other brands, and you can get whichever one you like, obviously. But we like this one. So I'm going to add the entire pack of seasoning to this. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a half a cup of whole milk. You don't have to use whole milk. You can use whatever kind of milk, but I'm using whole milk, half a cup. I'm also going to add a few dashes of the W sauce, and then I'm going to go in with just a little bit of ketchup. I just love ketchup, and I'm going to put it on top of it also, but I wanted to put a little bit inside of it because I love it. Then you're going to want to get your hands dirty and go ahead and smash all of this together and make sure every single bit of it is completely blended. And after we get that all blended together, we're going to add our saltine crackers. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave them in the sleeve. And this day I decided to beat them with ketchup, but normally I just do it with my hands. So I'm going to continue to do this with my hands. Just make sure that they're broken up into really small, fine little pieces. And then we're just going to add them to the bowl and give it a good mix again. So now I'm just going to go ahead and put it in my meatloaf dish. And you might be asking yourself, why, Melissa, do you have a meatloaf dish inside of another dish? And that's because one time I almost caught my house on fire because if your meat is really greasy, then the grease can come up over the meatloaf and drip out. And yeah, you'll set your house on fire, so don't do that. Always put a pan. Even if it's not like this, you can put like a bread pan, just anything to catch any extra grease that may drip over. So have that in mind. And again, I'm adding ketchup because I love ketchup. I went ahead and popped the meatloaf in the oven for 1 hour and put it on 350. So next I'm just filling up my pot with water, turning my burner on high because we are going to need to boil our water for our pasta salad. So in our pasta salad, we're going to have a cucumber. Yes, we are. If you don't like cucumbers, skip this step. If there's something I put in the pasta salad that you just don't like, just leave that out. Or if there's some things you want to add, because you can add cauliflower, broccoli, like literally anything. Tomatoes would be really good. I didn't have any, but anything you want to add, anything you want to take out. But this is so good, y'all. So good. So I'm just going to chop up some cucumbers in really fine little pieces. And I'm just going to add this to a really large bowl. And as you can see, there's the other half of that onion that I had diced up at the beginning of the video. So I do have onion and cucumber going on in here now. So my water is boiling. I did add a pinch of salt to it. I'm going to go ahead and put my noodles in there. I cannot think of what these are called right now, but they're the swirly, colorful noodles. And those are what's best in this pasta salad. So I'm going to go ahead, give that a good stir and a good mix, and then I'm going to add an entire bag, this is a small bag, of real bacon bits. I'm going to put about 2 teaspoons of Mrs. Dash Italian seasoning, and then I'm going to use half the bottle of this robust Italian dressing, and then we're going to give that a good stir. I'm just going to let this sit and kind of marinate just for a few minutes while I'm waiting for the noodles to get done. And while I'm also waiting for the noodles to get done, I'm going to go ahead and mix up my cornbread mix. This is just from a package. The name brand is High Top. It is so delicious. I don't know where else you can find this. I just found it at like a little corner store type place that we have. But it is so good and I love it, and it's 79 cents a pack, so why not? So I'm just adding the ingredients that it calls for on the back. So you use whatever kind of cornbread or make your cornbread homemade. Do your thing, but for me, I like this. So I'm just going to whisk this all up, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in the pan so that it will be ready to go in the oven once my meatloaf comes out. I'm also going to go ahead and spray my pan with some olive oil spray because I don't want my cornbread to stick to the bottom or the sides. And then I'm going to go ahead and pour it in. And like I said, just wait for the meatloaf to come out so I can put this in. So now I'm going to strain my noodles, and when you do this, you want to run cold water over them because this is a pasta salad that you're going to want to serve cold or cooler at maybe room temperature. But I'm going to use really cold water to wash off my noodles and cool them down, and then I'm going to add them to my bowl and give it a really good mix and make sure every part of it is coated. After my taste test, I decided it needed a little bit more Italian seasoning, and then I also did end up putting just a little bit more of the dressing in there as well. So you taste it, you know, you can flavor it to taste, whatever you think. But like I said, I'll have all the measurements down below, and I did also add some garlic powder to it as well, which I would say that was about a teaspoon. So I'm just going to pop the lid on this, and I'm going to put it in the fridge while I wait for the rest of the food to get done. And now that the meatloaf is done, I'm going to go ahead and bump my oven temperature up to 425 and put my cornbread in. And I'm going to put that on 19 minutes and let that cook. And once that's done, everything will be done. And that is what tonight's meal looks like. I promise if you make this meatloaf or this pasta salad, you will not be disappointed. This is such a good meal. For tonight's dinner, we're going to do a super easy, crock pot roast. So this is one of those dump and go things. Unfortunately, the beginning of this video, my camera wasn't on, so I'm just trying to show you what's in the pot. And I did use one of the slow cooker packets, put it in this cup, mixed it up with a little bit of water and poured it over top. But I added the other half of that onion that I had left over from the night before, and then some extra chopped onion, just some sliced carrots that I had left over. And now I'm going to peel some potatoes, and I'm going to quarter those to put in there as well. Also, you can put these potatoes in there with the peelings on them, which I do a lot of the times when I get red potatoes. But for today's meal, I wanted to just peel mine, so I did that. And so now I'm going to chop them up and add them to it. So now all I'm going to do is add them in the pot. I'm going to add some pepper on the top, and I'm going to put the lid on, and I have this one on high for 5 hours today. It was about 5.5 hours. And then next I'm going to go ahead and get my oven all warmed up because I'm going to be making a hoe cake. You heard me say that. Hoe cake. I think it's a southern thing. It's literally just like biscuits, but it's like they're all together and not separated. Please leave a comment down below and let me know if you guys have ever heard of a hoe cake or if your mind is just blown and this is just crazy. Now I'm just going to go ahead and preheat my oven to 450 degrees, and then I'm going to get our ingredients all mixed up. And I'm not going to make these from scratch. I'm actually just going to use Bisquick and some milk to mix these up. And these are really good. They taste like super good. We enjoy them. And of course I'm eyeballing it like always, but you can read the instructions on the box and it'll tell you how many cups of Bisquick you need to milk depending on how many people you're feeding. So I'm just going to give this a good stir, get it to the consistency I want it to be, and then I'm going to pour it into the pan. But first I'm going to spray it, of course, with my olive oil because I don't want the bread to stick to this pan. And again, you just follow the instructions on the back of that box. I put mine in for 12 minutes, and then when it came out, I buttered the top of it. And that is what tonight's meal looked like. So we have our meat, potatoes, vegetables, bread, all the things. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I appreciate you all so very much. I hope you found the video helpful or entertaining. Please don't forget to subscribe if you're new here. I'm going to be back at the end of this week with another What's for Dinner.